Welcome guys to Fusion Fantasy Football, and I am doing a quick tutorial video for you here about the Singularity, all of my projections and rankings and everything that is out. The second update is coming out and it's a lot more geared towards actually using it for your drafts, and everyone has their drafts coming up. A lot of people even this weekend, so I wanted to make sure it was out for you. And what better way to go through it on video where you can see what I'm doing, because who wants to buy something you don't know how to use, and who wants to buy something and then not be able to get anything out of it. So there's a lot of stuff you can get out of here. It's not just the snapshots, it's not just these league-wide stats and how in the world do those help you. We're going to go over all of that and maybe get into what the future still holds with the next update. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive right in. Here it is. When you get the Excel sheet, you open it up. Here's the cover. I had to put a cover on it because for the PDF people, basically. All right. Introduction tab here. All the stuff I'm mostly going to be going over in this video, but you can look through that. Mostly, I want to say, go ahead and check out and get familiar with this team snapshots. The first several tabs here that you see on the bottom are all kinds of different information. It's a lot coming at you. It's a little intimidating. I would encourage you to go over to here and check out some of these and get a feel for where everything goes, you know, get a feel for all the stats, how everything fits together. Everything else references these, all right? Nothing else really there. The next thing you're going to want to do is, if your league has any kind of unusual scoring, you're going to come over here and you're going to change it. All right. So do you get 1 point for every 20 or 25 yards? Every 25 yards is going to 0.04. Every 20 yards is going to be 0.05 points per a yard. A little tiny bit more. All right. So maybe that's it. So we'll say that maybe your league, you get a little bit extra, right? And let's say it's a 6-point passing touchdown, and maybe it's a -4 interceptions. Okay. So you can go through here and you can figure everything out. I'm gonna do one of my leagues here, and where, you know, we got like 0.3. It's a point. It's a PPR. You know, so you get some of these extra settings in here, and suddenly, and remember, it goes by position. So I'm doing this. It's a little boring, but I noticed that there's not one setting for PPR for everyone. And I did that because you have a lot of tight end premium leagues and things like that. I want you guys to be able to set it up for that. Now, in my league, with these scorings, it doesn't care about position. So I have to go and I have to make it the same for every single position, unfortunately. All right, so we'll go through here. It's the same for everybody. There we go. It's done. Here's another thing. I have it set to a default of 12 teams in a league. You're going to see where this comes in later, but this league I'm in, it's actually only a 10 team. I know, whatever. It's a home league. We like it. There you go. It's in. Now there's a lot of other tabs down here you're seeing at the bottom of the screen, right? And the important thing to note is a lot of them are going to be protected. Some of them are probably, if you're opening it with Excel and everything's reading right, there should be some down there that are hidden. You're not even going to know they're there. You're able to see an extra double line. So ADP data, right? I'm going to get this updated with this update. I pulled some data from earlier in the week that I was building it with, but I'm going to get it updated tonight. But then it's going to get protected and hidden, and boom, gone. Now you go to unhide, you might be able to find it. I do put it in there just so everything can reference it. It's all in one, but there's a lot of these things you don't want to touch, all right? these player stats, you don't want to touch them, and this is going to be protected. You touch this, everything gets screwed up basically, so don't touch it. Same thing for these player ranks, a change log. These kind of things are going to be hidden, protected. Shouldn't have to worry about them. All right. I'm just saying it in the video in case you open it with some kind of other program and maybe it doesn't hide them, and you're looking at it and you're like, what is all this extra stuff? A lot of these are just sheets I need to collect all the information so that everything else runs right. So once you have all these player stats pulled up from each of the team snapshots, it pulls them all here. You're not going to be dealing with this. This is all the stats. What you're going to be dealing with is the rankings page. You pull up the ranking page and here it is. A lot of stats. And again, a lot of this stuff can get a little intimidating. What is going on here? Just check out the top. It's broken down pretty simply into categories. Everything can be sorted. I have a default on here. You'll see clear the filter. I basically just put a filter in there saying ignore any that are blank. Now there really shouldn't be any, but sometimes when players move and so on, it kind of leaves a blank spot. So I just wanted to double check. That's unchecked. That's it. Now you can go along and do anything you want. You want to see who has the most targets, you can do it. See, look, a couple blanks showed up. I'm getting that fixed before it gets out to you. Don't worry about it. But you do see, let's see who has the most PPR points in my custom setting. And look, I started to go in positional ranks. That's not going to work. That's not going to sort right. First of all, because the numbers aren't normal, it's a text and number, it's not going to sort in a true 1 through 10 and so on. And it's got WRs and TEs and mixed in there. It's not going to work. Sort it by the points. Custom points, largest to smallest, and there we go. I'm actually going to redo this filter. I'll show you right now how to do it because obviously, boom, just had to get redone. There we go. Largest to smallest. In my custom scoring, Ezekiel Elliott is amazing. Yes, this custom scoring is very running back heavy. I am well aware, which is why I have somebody like Nick Chubb as my keeper. That's right. So I'm looking down the list here, and yeah, it changes some things pretty good. If you want to see a comparison, you can sort it by regular PPR settings. Okay, there you go. All these other stats are here. You can sort by anything here. Maybe you want to see, look, I have games predicted here. Maybe you want to say, but who if they played all 16 games? Leonard Fournette, if he played all 16 games, what would he come up with? Let's go over there. PPR for 16 games and see Leonard Fournette. He jumps up. He jumps up. I don't have a WR, positional ranking for that too. That would just get too much, but you can see the order. You can see he would come in possibly ahead of Todd Gurley. Okay. Yeah. Leonard Fournette could have a really good season if he plays every single game. I only have him projected. I actually bumped him up because he's doing pretty well. I bumped him up to 14. I don't give anyone who has had consistent injury history more than 14. If you are coming back from something and you're fully recovered, 15. If you have multiple years, you drop down to a 14. You have to have had a clean, healthy history to get a full 16 games out of me. And I did drop Ezekiel Elliott by 1 game just because of the holdout concerns. I could see him missing 1 or 2 games just to show him he's serious. I don't think that's going to happen though. All right, let's go. This is really nice and all, but it's just a lot. I mean, unless you are specifically looking for something like who's gonna have the most receiving yards? Yeah, okay. Julio, there you are. Who's gonna have the most targets? Unless you're looking for something specific for research, this is great for research. Okay. If you know what you're doing with Excel, you might even be able to create your own little columns and stats, using these if you wanted. Okay, that's fine. Go for it. But you go to 250, top 250 page. This is what is the biggest update coming out this week. You can see I got the ADP in there, and I only did positional ADP. Their positional rank according to ADP. And that's because I cannot predict your league. I have no idea where your quarterbacks are going. I have no idea where wide receivers are going compared to running backs. For just like I had my custom league in here, custom, let's sort it by my custom. Here we go. See, we needed to clear out. We needed to clear it out. No blanks. No blanks. I get that sorted out. Custom. You can see running backs are king in this league. So a good, if it's not, it's a keeper league. But if we were doing a pure draft with all the players in the pool, lots of running backs would go off in this league before wide receiver was taken. That doesn't compare to other leagues and other scoring setups. So that's why I did not even try and do that. And I've already talked about in a podcast when I was talking about this how the quarterbacks I also have pulled out. So you'll notice over here I have the equivalent of their draft pick in a no quarterback ranking. There's no quarterbacks mixed in with this. All right, understand that. Now that's going to work if you're with players who were maybe going to pass on quarterback in the first few rounds anyway. Maybe Mahomes will go in the second or something. So as you start going further down the draft to more quarterbacks are taken, these numbers will start to get off a little bit from where they're really being taken, right? So maybe Dante Pettis, he's not really going in the 6th. Maybe he's really going in the 7th after you get your running backs, your quarterbacks in there, right? That's all to say. Let's look over all this. So some things are obviously a little messed up. What's going on? Well, we need to go back over here. This is the trick because everything connects to everything else. This is a trick you need to know. It's going to be in the introduction sheet there. You need to sort the rankings page by PPR or by your custom. I suggest just by PPR, regular old PPR, and then this will work correctly. That's it. Just warning you. All right. Okay. So, that's about it for this. There's nothing too unusual going on. You're going to look at PPR value over ADP. This is a great thing, and obviously something's messed up here, moving things around. I'm in the middle of updating this. I just needed to make the video. So you're going to see how the value over ADP is here. And you're going to see that there's some colors in there. All right, what's with the colors? Well, pretty simple. The colors, where it's green, it means that they are a value according to ADP. Where I think they will score better than what the ADP, the average draft position, is saying. So I think Juju is going to do better than what they're saying. And these aren't draft picks better. These are positional ranks better. So Juju is 5 receivers better, I believe. And obviously something's messed up because Julio isn't showing up. We'll get that sorted out. But 5 receivers better, not just 5 picks or 5 receivers. Okay, so as you go around, you can see I have Nick Chubb higher. See things like this. I can maybe Christian McCaffrey is being taken a little bit too high. Barkley, I don't have him as my running back 1. See, he drops down. In normal PPR, he's 3, and in my custom settings I did for this league, he's 2. That's the difference. Use this to identify values in your league according to your settings. That's basically it. You can look through here and I'll say, look, Christian McCaffrey, he doesn't get as many rush attempts as the other guys. My scoring has some points per carry, so he's not getting the benefit of that as much as Ezekiel and Saquon Barkley. It makes complete sense why he falls a spot in my setting and Barkley goes up over Kamara. See, Kamara and Julio are not in this for some reason. I'll figure that out. But you can go down through here. Some guys really jump out. A lot of green. Some really are red. Cooper Kupp, Melvin Gordon. Okay. These are the things you're going to be able to do with it. Hopefully you'll be able to get some value out of it. You'll see here, buy. I put that on there just for ease. So if you do print this out, and you can, it will format pretty nicely, fit nicely on a page. Print it out, take it with you to your draft. If you have a live draft, there you go. You can keep track of it. When you go to write it down, you're trying to make sure your second quarterback in a super flex league isn't the same bye week, which is probably a good idea. Things like that. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. Everything else here, I can show you the league stats. These are fun. These are interesting. The biggest benefit that you can actually gain from this is maybe a tiebreaker between players. Maybe you're trying to decide between Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. All right. Well, I would say, well, let's look at fantasy points to wide receivers. Atlanta, oh, now Atlanta's at the top. All right. According to my projection. But it kind of gives you a sense that, yeah, you know what? There's a lot of points available in that Atlanta passing game, whereas Cincinnati is down here, not as high. Who do you want a piece? Which offense do you want a piece of? I would take Calvin Ridley between those two because he has the upside in his offense. So that's the idea behind having this. You get to look up things. You get to look up things like target share. I was replying to a comment on Twitter just today, talking about how the guy was saying Jacksonville's wide receivers, there may be some values there. And I said, yeah, you know what? I have projected them for one of the highest target shares for their combined receivers in the league at 69. I had a little bit higher. I changed a few things recently. So 69%. And look at how many points they have to wide receivers as a whole. They're ninth. There's a lot of points there. It might be spread out, but it also could start getting concentrated on a few players with a few injuries. And that's where you say, okay, end of the draft, throw on a Keelan Cole, draft D.D. Westbrook higher than he's ADP. I'm sure we could find him pretty easily on here. These are the kind of things you're going to be able to find. Look, he's a 9 position value. That's easily a round, if not 2 value, that you don't have to take him in the 6th. I think that's where he should go. But you can easily probably take him in the 7th or 8th round, if not later, depending on how your quarterbacks are going. So those are the kind of things you can get value on here. Obviously, Duke Johnson jumped up. His ADP has not had time to recover. I will be getting an even newer ADP in here. I still don't know if it'll have Duke Johnson trade accounted for. You got to know about things like that. So go through here, print it off, start scratching names off, and pretty soon you'll see names that are still up there that aren't scratched off. Those are going to be your values. Unless there's a negative here, like an Odell Beckham, and I'm saying no, you can let him slide. All right. This is it. This is the Singularity. Of course, we have all of the teams. If you want to look into how I got to where I got to, there it is. The numbers up at the top of the team, league-wide stats and team stats, they're fun. That's pretty much it. It's fun. It was a double check, like I said, for me. You can see here The passes, the pass numbers year to year have hardly changed by more than a couple hundred. Rushing numbers, same thing. Touchdowns, I ended up with exactly the same number of touchdowns as 2018. That was not intentional, and while a lot of my projections are based on past years, there's still no way that would have made me have the exact same touchdown. So that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. You can see how that's distributed across rushing and passing, and all these details, averages for these target shares. Guys, it's just a good idea, get a sense for the league and spot some trends, and maybe you can pick up some value, like I was talking about with the Calvin Ridley tiebreaker. Pick out a few different things in here. I have it sorted by my fantasy score metric that I kind of created, that just basically combines volume and efficiency into one number to give you an idea of how good an offense really is. And 100 is kind of the midpoint, as you can see here. So Kansas City, yeah, they were up at the top last year, record score last year. The second best score over the last few years was Atlanta in 2006, which makes sense. It's just really a perfect ranking of fantasy relevant offenses that I have found, kind of a power ranking, fantasy power ranking. And it just kind of gives you another feel for, you can look at it by raw points, which you can see it kind of already did that. Kind of gives you one more thing to look at to say whether this is going to be a good offense to have players in or not. And you can look it up specifically for passing and we're rushing. So this is rushing. FASR is the rushing. Yeah, New Orleans rushing game. That makes sense. Baltimore rushing game. That includes Lamar Miller. New England. Hey, they got a lot of the guys there. Let's just look at passing. Of course, Kansas City. There they are again. Atlanta, and so on. That's it, guys. A lot of fun things in here. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, FusionFFB.com. And FusionFFB at gmail.com for the email. Twitter at FusionFFB. I hope you enjoy it. If you bought it, thank you very, very much. I hope you can get as much out of it as possible. If you have any questions, you can always contact me. Thank you.